Cash flow is the lifeblood of your company. And having a good quality month-by-month cash flow budget is critical for you to be able to plan what's going to happen in the months ahead. The monthly cash flow budget is that tool for you. So as you created your model in the pricing planning for profit software, it basically created a month-by-month budget for you for each department of your company as well as the company as a whole. So the way this report works is whatever you have highlighted at the top is what's going to display at the bottom. So currently I have the service department highlighted. I can see this is my annual cash flow for my service department. So as I scroll down on this report and look at the detail of the report itself, you're going to see that it lays this out in the exact format that you put it together. So this is for my service department. I start out with the actual revenue, the sales. And so I've got my direct labor. I can see in this department, we had a total of 2,514 hours billed out at $140.50 per hour. So I can see the revenue per month that I'm expecting to bring in based on the number of billable hours that I have in this given department. Along with that, I've got any materials that may have been sold. I've got subcontractors that may have been sold. And then we've got other income. And so what turns out, ultimately, what is my total revenue per department or for this department each month throughout the year? Then below that, we're going to have the cost of sales. And so we've got what is the cost of labor for regular time as well as overtime? What is the cost of materials? And in this particular model, I don't have any materials or subcontractors entered in, but those would show up in this section. And ultimately, that then gives us a total cost of sales for this department. Below that, we'll then see our gross profit. So again, remember, gross profit is what we have to pay all the rest of our expenses with, including our wages, right, outside of our direct labor. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit farther, and we'll see two sections. The first one is going to be all of our variable expenses. So all the variable expenses that you entered in to your particular model. In my particular case, I had credit card, I had fuel, I had vehicle maintenance. Those are going to show up and how much is allocated per month throughout this year. Below that, you're going to see automatically payroll taxes on direct billed labor. That's the company matching taxes that you have to pay for the billable labor. Right, so if we go back under cost of goods sold, right, on this labor right here, what's the company matching taxes that we have to pay for those dollars that are there, right? The software is automatically calculating that in and showing you what it is. That ultimately gives you a total of your variable expenses. And then below that, what is the contribution to overhead that we have left for that particular item? If we scroll down on the report one more time, we will see all of our fixed expenses. So every single fixed expense that you put in and you allocated to this department. All right, so if you have fixed expenses that you allocated to other departments, they're not going to show up on this list because this is just for the service department in my particular case. And so I can see the expenses as we go through the entire year. And then when we get all the way to the bottom, we can see, what is, first off, our total fixed expenses for the month. What is our net cash flow? So I can see here in January, we're at minus $4,055. In February, we're at a plus $676. In March, we're at a whopping $9 in profit, right? And then we're plus $6,600, minus $1,300, right? So I see that cash flowing up and down throughout the course of the year. And then this last line is important on a cash flow budget is what is my cumulative total for the year? So I can see in January, in fact, this is kind of like your checkbook balance, if you will. In January, since we had that loss, we're at minus $4,055. In February, we made a little bit of money, but the check not enough to make up the loss for January, so we're still at a minus $3,300. In March, we're at minus $3,370. In April, we're finally positive at this point, and so we're at plus $3,300. And in March, we're down to $1,980, right? So we see that cumulative total is kind of that cash flow budget for the company itself. Now, for some of you, you love to have this kind of detail. In fact, I encourage you at this point, print this off, right? And we can do that simply hitting the print icon down here, and we can either print it to paper or download it to a PDF. At that point, print it off, go into your accounting software. This is the budget that you would key into your accounting software. Now let your accounting software do what it's intended to do and run your regular budget versus actual reports. So that's the first item. Right now, some of you like to see the number detail. right? Some of you, that just is a whole bunch of numbers on a page. And so for you, if you prefer, right up here at the top, we've got the cash flow statements icon. We also have the graphs. We will plot this same information out on a graph. And so again, I can see right there is my zero line. That's where I'm profitable. So I can see I lost money in January. We made a little bit in February. So the blue line is showing your month to month. It's each month standing on its own. The green line is the cumulative total for the year. And so I can see in this case, if I didn't carry money over from the previous year, I'm going to have problems because I'm basically going to be really at a loss until I hit, really past the first quarter of the year. And so I can see now, by the time we get to the end of the year, we are profitable in this particular department. And so we're okay. So we got to carry some of that over to the next year. It helps you plan that month by month cash flow budget as we go through the year. And again, I can very clearly see those months that we're not billing out nearly as much as we were during other months. So it just helps me to basically plan the cash flow throughout the course of the year. Now, if I want to look at another department, simply scroll to the top, choose the next department that I want to look at. It's going to go back, pull up all the data that's there. So this particular department is actually in much better shape. We stay positive throughout the course of the entire year. So I can look at each department as a standalone, and then I can also choose all departments, which will let me look at the company as a whole. So it's basically going out, combining all three of my departments together, bringing up the detail for all three of them. And now I can see at this point, so even though I had some departments that were really at a loss, I can pretty much hold my own throughout the course of the year. So in other words, we have some departments that are losing money and they're being carried by other departments that are a little bit more profitable. Track your cash flow on a month-to-month basis, plan as you go forward, and make sure that you're carrying over the profits from the previous year that we see to cover the slow months in the next year.